What if the reason you keep going back to your addiction isn't because you're weak? What if it's not because you lack discipline, motivation, or willpower? What if the real problem is that every time you try to quit your addiction, you are asking your brain to become someone it doesn't trust yet? Think about it. How many times have you said, "This is the last time"? Last cigarette, last drink, last binge, last night scrolling until 3 a.m. And how many times did you believe it, only to watch yourself return days later? At some point, something breaks inside you. Not the addiction, but your belief that change is even possible. And when belief dies, addiction doesn't even need to fight anymore. Today, I want to show you a completely different way to overcome addiction. A system rooted in Japanese philosophy. One that doesn't rely on motivation, guilt, or dramatic life overhauls. This isn't about motivation. It's about navigation. And it starts with the smallest, most counterintuitive key of all. Before you continue, be warned that this system is built for people who have already failed and are tired of hating themselves for it. People who have made up their mind to stop addiction, but they don't have the willpower.
Let me tell you about Daniel. For 15 years, he was a prisoner of addiction. On the outside, his life looked fine. Decent job, friends, no dramatic rock bottom. But every night, around 10:47 p.m., his addiction showed up. Sometimes it was alcohol, sometimes porn, sometimes food, sometimes just endless scrolling. The object didn't matter. The ritual did. Laptop open, lights dim, brain finally quiet. Daniel wasn't addicted to pleasure. He was addicted to relief. And every morning, he woke up with the same thought. Tonight will be different. It never was. They told him change was a dramatic leap, a battle to be won in a single heroic stand. He tried everything. Cold turkey, accountability apps, motivational videos, shame, especially shame. But shame doesn't kill addiction. It feeds it. And for 15 years, he lost.
Here's what nobody tells you. Addiction is not a moral failure. It's a trust problem between you and your nervous system. Your brain doesn't care about your long-term goals. It cares about safety and predictability. When life feels overwhelming, your addiction becomes a reliable refuge. So when you suddenly say, "I'm quitting forever starting Monday," your brain hears danger, uncertainty, loss, and it pulls you back. This is why extreme change almost always collapses. You are trying to win a long psychological war with a short emotional sprint. The Japanese philosophy approaches this differently. Instead of asking, "How do I stop?" it asks, "How do I return?"
Daniel eventually met an older therapist who didn't ask about his addiction. He asked one question: what is the smallest promise you could keep, even on your worst day? Not quitting, not reducing, not resisting. Just one promise. Daniel said, "I don't know." The therapist said, "Good, then we start there." The assignment was almost insulting in its simplicity. Every day, when Daniel felt the urge, he was not allowed to fight it. He only had to do one thing first. Drink a glass of water. Sit for 60 seconds. That's it. No stopping. No bargaining. Just delay. This is Kaizen. Continuous improvement through microscopic change. The goal was not to quit. The goal was to interrupt the automatic loop. And something strange happened. For the first time, Daniel wasn't failing.
After a week, Daniel noticed something unexpected. Even when he still gave in, he didn't feel powerless anymore. Why? Because addiction thrives on speed, on unconscious momentum. That 1-minute pause created space, and space restores agency. This is how keystone habits work. You don't defeat addiction directly, you weaken its grip indirectly. One kept promise repairs identity, and identity change always precedes behavior change. Next came a new rule. Daniel was allowed to engage in his addiction, but only to 80%. Not to numbness, not to exhaustion, not to collapse, just before. This is Hara Hachi Bu, the Okinawan principle of stopping before fullness applied psychologically. Why it works: addiction escalates because tolerance grows, more stimulus, more intensity. Stopping at 80% retrains your nervous system to feel satisfaction without destruction. It feels uncomfortable at first, but discomfort is not danger, it's rewiring. Then came the hardest question. Why do you want to quit? Daniel answered like everyone else, because it's ruining my life. The therapist shook his head. That's not a reason to live, that's a reason to escape pain. They dug deeper. And eventually Daniel said, I want to wake up without shame. I want to trust myself again. I want to feel present with people. That was his ikigai. Not purity, not perfection. Presence. Purpose doesn't stop urges, it gives you something to return to after them. One night, Daniel relapsed hard. Old pattern, old intensity, old disgust. The familiar thought appeared, I ruined everything. But instead of quitting the system, he returned to it the next morning. Water, pause, movement. This is wabi-sabi, the acceptance of imperfection as part of growth. Addiction recovery doesn't fail because of relapse, it fails because of the meaning you assign to relapse. A stumble is not a collapse. Daniel didn't become addiction-free overnight, he became dependable. Gambaru means to persist with quiet determination, not dramatic effort, not heroic suffering, just showing up again. And one day, Daniel noticed something terrifying and beautiful. Some urges still appeared, but they no longer controlled him, because he had changed who he was being.
If you're struggling with addiction, I want you to hear this clearly. You don't need to become stronger. You need to become kinder and more consistent. Stop asking, how do I quit forever? Start asking, how do I return today? Change doesn't begin with discipline. It begins with trust. And trust is built one small promise at a time. If this helped you, stay with this channel. Like and subscribe. Share with those who need it. We build systems, not guilt. And remember, you don't lose because you fail. You lose when you stop returning. If you missed out on the topic on identifying if you are lazy or burned out, watch the next video.